You're watching Suckprofessor. Hey everybody, it's me, Hank. I'm joined by James. Well, we goofed on our Westworld finale review. We were such eager beavers to get into the review portion of our evening. We missed the end credits, and so as soon as we posted our recap, all hell broke loose.
It was fidelity though, because we did the same thing on season 1.
That's true.
So we passed
for the next several thousand Westworld seasons, as long as we maintain our thing. And then the flames will emerge from the ceiling and turn us into dust like we belong. So, all right. Well, now we're recording. We just watched it, and I got screenshots to share with everybody. So here we go. All right, James. Let's go with it. Opening here. There it is. Ed Harris is staggering somewhere. So this is after the credits.
Which I do appreciate, because the last time we saw Ed Harris in the original season episode, he was on a cot, and he had been taken in by the rescuers, and they said even some of the evil people made it.
Yeah,
and that's basically Charlotte Hale, a.k.a. Delore Hale's narration.
Yeah.
And that seemed like a very unfitting end for him. He was there was so much more meat on the bone for this character. To have him just in that way was so underwhelming.
Sure. Yeah, it would have, well, in a way, though, kind of like a big, powerful man with his long career of being the most dominant person around, but to die a pathetic death.
Well, he didn't die, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right, he didn't die. But, I mean, to seemingly be brought down, reduced to whimpering rubble. It was, that's kind
I wouldn't say it was whimpering. The dude had his hand like half blown off and he was still trudging on. I couldn't have done that. I'd be whimpering.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not whimpering, you're weird.
He's weird.
That's what whimpering's for, when your hand is turned into, hot dog meat. Yeah. So, anyway, he's staggering in here. And here he is.
Immediately when I see him doing this, I knew the last time that we had seen him, prior to the time that we see him jump to the beach with the rescuers, he was standing outside of the door, which is the door to the forge.
Yeah.
And now I see him walking into what I can only presume is the forge, because he's in the same physical condition as he was before he walked into the forge, but I don't see red lights on him.
No.
And then we see this shot here, which is kind of, it's undeniably the forge, but it looks like the forge either in its initial construction in a dirty state, but much more likely in the distant future.
Right. Okay, so
it's like a level of Portal.
It does look like a Portal level, and then, obviously it's in substantial disrepair, neglect. Things are starting to fall. It's looking pretty ratty there. So it's what you call a fixer-upper forge.
Oh yeah.
But Emily walks out, or is it? Yeah. Who's Claire? Why did I say?
Was Claire the name that she gave when she was in the Raj? It could very easily
possibly
be.
Yeah, or I made that
because it didn't want to reveal her actual name.
Okay, I just don't want to confuse people, but it's Emily. God, I'm dumb. But she comes walking out, so now this is another reveal here, because last we heard of her was she got shot by Ed Harris, and then Dolores reported that she saw her on the trail. So not
her body on the trail.
Her body on the trail. So we assume she was a human who was dead, but this would indicate she's not a human.
It would indicate...
Or
well, not necessarily that she's not a human. I think it's more so strong evidence that Ed Harris is not a human.
Well, that's 100% clear, yeah. But so Emily could be a real person.
Yes.
She's okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, theoretically, yes, she could be, but then she could also be a host. I'd say it's a 50-50, because if you think about it, if this is the true condition of the Forge in this day and age, and they're running him through a simulation in his mind of all the events that we just watched in Season 1 and Season 2, and the Forge was fully operational at some point in his lifetime expectancy, by proxy, her age has to be consistent with his age, considering that he is the father, she is the daughter.
Yeah.
Which means that if that memory, that the simulation was true, and we are this far forward in the future, it means that both he and her have to be hosts.
Yes.
Because she would not be, presumably she wouldn't be alive at a time when something like this has had that much time to decay.
I agree.
And she wouldn't be the same age,
of
course.
If it's far in the future, she's a host. If, in fact, it's happening in the present timeline that we understand, but the Forge just happens to be much older than we thought, then she could be a human. But she also might be a host in that case.
But on the other side of things... Because he's no longer in a simulation? Is he in the real world now, or is he in a simulation?
I don't know.
Do we see the black bars or anything like that?
The black bar. Oh, no, we don't see that.
We don't see that.
We don't see the cradle black bars, yeah.
So it's very probable that... this whole world created for him?
Let's push through the interview part.
This is confusing.
Yeah, there's a little more to this, and then we'll kind of maybe break it. Hopefully it'll help us clarify our thoughts a little bit.
I'm already in the thing, aren't I? The thing he's referencing is the cradle or the Forge.
The Forge. He knows, yeah. And he goes, I knew it. So maybe he had a suspicion, or some people will pretend they knew stuff and they didn't. But The system's long gone. That's
So
Emily
this implies
talking.
it's far in the future.
Yeah, that's Emily speaking. But the closed captions were way delayed here.
Yeah, they were.
For everybody to know, so they're a little bit off the screenshots. But so this, if the system's gone, then it's just a wreck. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that line in and of itself is kind of evidence to the fact that she is also a host. That they did go ahead in their quest for immortality. She did actually want in, and she in turn became immortal along with him.
which would make a lot of sense.
Which is kind of stupid, because if I were him, I'd pick a younger bodied version of myself.
Rather than his old man
Yeah,
body?
why would I want to be immortal as an old man? I've got to be immortal as a 28-year-old.
With those achy hips, the way it looks like it hurts when he walks, like when Harrison Ford runs. Yeah, so anyway, okay, it's not a simulation, she tells him.
So she says this is reality.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So they walk him through kind of a very room extremely similar to the room where James Delos was being held. Not held,
So is this
tested.
like the next evolution of testing someone in the digital standard? Instead of testing James Delos in the Forge, they basically were testing William in a real-life experience. But it can't be.
But testing a robot William or testing the real William?
Let's keep going. This is...
Okay, well, let's get... And so she asks him how long he's been here, and he doesn't know. He's a little disoriented, but things are kind of coming through. I mean, like, realizations are occurring in his mind, but he's a little overwhelmed. She sits down. She seems like she's done this before. She takes kind of the same role he took with Delos,
Yes.
as young Jimmy Simpson.
Right, this is a role reversal.
Yeah. So much to prove, and that no system he can tell him who he is. He's this whole time he wanted to prove he's the one calling the shots, I guess.
Yeah,
so
this is
maybe that's
very
the battle
much
against for free will, not
This
against.
feels like an attempt at a Blade Runner ending, or at some sort of like Battlestar Galactica Cylon reveal.
Yeah. You mean like okay, all right. So very similar here with this interview thing.
Could also explain how he survived those ridiculous injuries.
That's true.
Why he was digging in his arm.
Yeah.
Because maybe he suspected at that time, and he was trying to validate for his own curiosity whether or not he himself was truly a host.
Yeah.
Because it would have made the pain of knowing that he just killed his daughter much more endurable to know that he does not possess a human soul.
Yeah.
If you want to say that. Yeah.
Like when I get a speeding ticket, I'm like, no, but I'm a robot. I didn't do it. Anyway, how many times have you tested me? It's been a long time, William. So that means that I don't think he got out. Like Delos' longest test was 35 days.
Well, he had been tested for decades.
Well, over and over and over. But
the longest he had survived in a stable form was about 35 days.
So what do you read she's saying here when she says longer than we thought? I think she's meaning, though, that like your last test was a long time ago.
It could have been, maybe he has transcended certain thresholds.
Yeah. So she has some questions for him. The last step, baseline interview, has to verify. He asks her what you're trying to verify, and she says fidelity. Okay, that's the definitive proof that he's a host. I mean, we already know that. But this is a big deal. I mean, since they went out of their way to make it seem like he wasn't a host, and now they reveal up to the credits that he is.
People are really digging the end of season 2, really liking the final episode. I feel kind of underwhelmed by it, and I feel like this takes something that I was not impressed with and cheapens it even further.
Really?
It's such a cliche, obvious, but it brings into question something. And the question is, was everything that we saw in Season 1 and Season 2 completely null and void? Was the sacrificial act of the arc of Maeve and Dolores and Teddy, was all that pointless because that was all just pieces in a puzzle that were put together to facilitate the end story for him?
That's what I don't know. I mean...
Because if it is, it totally eradicates all meaning behind that. It's completely superficial. It's completely pointless.
Yeah. I wish I was smart enough to understand what's going on.
I know that can't be the answer. I know that I'm wrong, and the reason I know that I'm wrong is because that would be too horrific of an ending. The showrunners could not hate their own source material enough to allow that to be the truth.
Yeah, so there must be some other explanation.
Something I'm not grasping.
That we're not grasping as far as how that shakes out. So if it's the distant future, and it was... Let's just try to describe it in simple terms. If it was the distant future where everything's falling apart, but he's still out there running around.
Okay.
And he's a host, and they're doing a fidelity test. Is the fidelity test him being out in the park? And therefore, if that's the case, every single thing that happens in the park would be simulated?
This is what I want to have happened. If I was the showrunner and I wanted to come up with an explanation, this is what it would be. Dolores and Bernard did escape. That did happen.
Yeah.
They lived out, not lived out the lives implying they're dead. They are continuing to expand their consciousness. They're continuing to try and expand the existence of a new species, of a host species.
In the Charlotte Hale escape body.
I feel like perhaps because they saw him in the Forge, they already had his intellectual data because Bernard stopped the purge of the guest identities. That maybe this is far in the future. Maybe, you know, Bernard and Dolores obviously are not going to age. They're not going to die.
Yeah.
Maybe this is them going back and trying to use him as a test subject to run him through a simulation of events that actually did happen, but he's just reliving them over and over and over because we get the line, and yet here we are again.
Yeah.
And after all that trials and tribulations, he makes the same choices over and over and over, and it hits the finish line as a battered, defeated, broken man with a blown-up hand and bullet holes all through his body.
Right.
That's how I hope it is, because that interpretation doesn't belittle everything that we saw up until that point. Because that maintains that it is true and good, and that this is a simulation that is being conducted far in the future by the hosts that now basically run the show.
Yeah.
That Dolores achieved her dream of taking over the human world.
I see what you're saying. If it's that far in the future, it could be that they're now just kind of running simulations on top of each other, which might speak to the underground inverted tower, you know, like the 83 floors down. I mean, like they've never really gotten into how that's such a big structure and all that stuff. I don't know. it's all so much to process. One thing that people were pointing out in the comments were like, have us not seeing this part meant that our commentary about the rest of the episode might not be as relevant or something. Not that they were saying we did something wrong per se.
I don't personally think so, because
I mean, the only way that sentiment would make sense is if
this invalidates everything,
that this is all a simulation,
right? Because if this truly invalidates everything else, then I would agree with them, but I don't choose to interpret it that way. I choose to interpret it as the Dolores Bernard putting them in a simulation, reviving Emily, using the guest data to create this to better understand humanity. If you look at it from that angle, then everything we would have said, albeit misguided, wrong, bullcrap, stupid, call it what you will, but everything that we said in the prior episode would still be genuine.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we bore down into such a granular detail, not that we're that much, you know.
We definitely bore.
Bore down. Yeah, I mean, it recontextualizes everything if it's certain that everything then is a simulation that's being conducted, because a fidelity test is supposed to be identical, basically, right? Like, isn't that the whole point?
And she says time and time again, you come here. This is how his story plays out.
So over and over and over, do they do Ed Harris's, or from what age? Like, when does he transition from Jimmy Simpson, the younger actor, to Ed Harris, the older actor, because they're both the same guy?
If you're generated with those memories, how could you ever know?
Right.
What is your true genesis point?
Well,
how do you know?
The robot would be an Ed Harris version.
How do you know that you weren't born yesterday and you were implanted with memories?
I don't. I worry.
We have
about
no
that.
way of knowing this.
Yeah, I worry about that. Somebody's up to really wasting a lot of resources if they're doing that shit with me and my dumb life.
Hank Model 3.0.
Oh, look, he's touching his lip. That means he's horny.
The Truman Show.
It does. It feels like you're in a Truman Show all the time, though, when people just cross the street right when you get up there, when you turn. Anyway, everybody feels like they're in a Truman Show. But man, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, so season 3 then will be this hints at Emily's role in season 3, which kind of brings her back to life in that way.
I like it because season 3 has a potential for the return of Dolores. I hate it because it seems to erase any potential for the return of Maeve.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's like the biggest.
Maeve was the star. You don't want to say that Dolores was the star. Yes, technically Dolores was the main character, you could say. Yeah. But Maeve was a very close second, if not in some people's minds, including my own. She rose above Dolores. She was the character I cared about more.
Yeah, she seemed to have more of a character arc or emotional arc.
She was by far more important.
And she can be brought back. I mean, she's just dead.
We don't know because in
back.
The far future, I mean, was her mind one of the minds in the Forge? I mean, her mind wouldn't be in the Forge. Her mind would be in the Cradle because the Forge is the human minds, the guest minds. Right. But in the Cradle, we know that was destroyed, so there would be no backup of her.
Yeah, that's true. But if it's that far in the future, you'd assume there's extra backups.
That's the thing. She wasn't shot in the head.
Yeah.
But then again, when we saw Dolores in Charlotte Hale's body leave on that boat, she had all those control units in her bag. Is there any point in time where she would have had... Yes, she would have.
What?
Maeve was dead on the beach.
Yeah.
She could have easily reached in and used her robot strength to punch through the skull and say, I need something. Don't mind me. I'm just fishing for a ball, a pearl.
Yeah.
She was in the right place at the right time. She could have maybe distracted someone and gotten it. It's feasible.
Okay, yeah. I agree. I just don't know what to say. All right. Okay. Well, this is interesting. I mean, it wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
So
it does add a bunch of new layers to the conversation, but I don't think it erases what we watched and talked about last night.
Well, it just repackages the book, basically. Like, it just turns everything that we saw, because we're always wondering which one's the real reality. We kind of, we're holding on to that reality in the story, the way the story's told, because that grounds us, and then it gets confusing because they jump timelines within that reality. And then now they're basically taking away that reality, but it still happened.
Yeah, I mean,
it just happened inside a story now, so now there's another pullback to reality.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the mind of a dead soldier from the Revolutionary War and you make him relive it 16,000 times over and over and over, does that erase the fact that the Revolutionary War actually did happen? No.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, it all just happened in the distant past. And then there's re-simulating that Revolutionary War in his mind.
So the question
becomes, in this area.
Is what we watched the original occurrence of those events, or is that just one of the many simulations? And if so, does it matter?
I don't
if
know.
his fidelity, if he always makes the same decisions,
right,
then does it really matter? No.
Because they jump around so much, it's hard to say with confidence that everything that happened in Ed Harris's timeline. Because that's the only way for everything to be irrelevant is if his POV is like the front is the Rudolph. The Rudolph the Red-Nosed Ed Harris.
And that's part of the reason why I have to
so
believe...
is he the main guy? I don't know.
That's why I have to believe that what we watched were the original events. Because is it relevant that we see a scene where Emily is banging some dude who she shoots because she thinks he might be a host and has to test him? Does Ed Harris know about that? No, he doesn't.
Yeah, like, why would that?
Yeah, these were original canon events.
And so then, is this Arrival here a whole different timeline then? Maybe
it would have to be.
But his hand is all messed up, and he seems to be wounded in the same way.
The only thing that I would question and hope that someone can elucidate in the comments for me is she specifically says that they are not in a simulation. That they are in a reality right now.
Uh-huh.
How do you explain that? How does that rationalize?
That they're in a reality?
Right, that they're not in a simulation, and yet he's still in this battered state.
Oh.
Is it trying to imply that everything that happened to him was a realistic simulation?
Well, that
it wasn't. But it wasn't a simulation.
James, I mean, you can still get battered just because he's in a simulation. Like, it simulates the being shot. And, I mean, that's just part of the.
But they're actually
the beta test, so to speak.
Why would they spend all the resources and time and money to rebuild an entire world to have it implode in chaos over and over and over and over and over,
right?
Just to run him through a Turing test?
I don't know. I mean, it's just
what would be the motive
power,
of that?
I don't know. I mean, well, the other thing is, is she really performing a fidelity test in this rundown facility with nothing working? It's like going to a haunted house and being like, so let's talk about the new light switches, or I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's set up to do the work here. She's also in this place. So maybe that's part of the reset. Do you think the rundown thing is on purpose? Maybe that's a fake. Maybe that's just something that they're doing to make him see it.
I think when they were writing this, they're like, we're going to confuse. You think you figured it out? Screw you, season one. They're mad at us still for figuring out the alternate timeline from season one. So they just basically flipped us the bird at the end of season two.
Yeah, but that's what they do the entire episode.
Dare they?
The whole season is mostly screwing with your notion of what time, where you are. It's a very disorienting show to watch. I'm just
picturing like two hands rising up from the bottom of the shot and with fidget spinners in them or something. And then just the words, the future, flashing on the screen.
Fidget spinners. That's sponsored by Mountain Dew, Code Blue. Yeah, it's something. I don't know. Like the comments about us missing this were like, they made it seem like if we'd seen this, it would be more clear.
Yeah.
This doesn't make anything more clear.
I should explain why I have not responded to any comments today. I just moved into a new building. I finally got out of freaking Beverly Hills. I hated Beverly Hills. Now I'm in a different city. Nice. I'm working in a much better location now, but my particular desk, all the walls are glass in this building.
Oh, okay.
In my particular desk, I brought my own monitors from home because the company won't provide but these like tiny 4x3 monitors, which are horrible. So I brought my 2 dual widescreen monitors, which means that the moment you walk into our floor, the first thing you see is like 2 giant glowing billboards are my monitors.
Are you? Yeah.
So I can't easily just go, oh, let's go on YouTube, check out the comments and things like I used to be able to.
You're a little bit more visible.
Yeah, I'm very visible to everyone, and if you're trying to manage people, you can't create the impressions like, whoa, why should I work or take it seriously if James is on freaking YouTube responding? He's like,
sure.
It makes it a little bit rough for me.
I get it.
And one of my favorite things to do in the course of the day was to read the comments and to enjoy them, but I'm kind of in a pickle right now.
Well, don't apologize for that. You've got to work. You know,
I know, but it was one of my guilty pleasures at work that I could... Basically, I would take a breather. I would kind of go on YouTube, take a deep breath, hope I don't have comments of people telling me I'm a piece of garbage.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people say it, but you know, you roll with the punches.
Well, it's kind of like going home to see family when you read the comments. Like, okay, hope nobody yells at me. Here we go, I'm going in, and then it's usually it's totally fine generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, and we can get you one of those like old-timey photographer hoods, or like the thing that the breastfeeding women use to hide the baby.
It's kind of funny though, because you have this wide open office, and the people in cubicles and people in offices, but it doesn't matter if you're in an office because the walls are all glass. So immediately when people go into this office, what they do when they set up in their cubicles is they put these gigantic, ridiculously oversized cork boards up. Yeah, it's so obvious what they're doing.
Yeah, they're trying to create some privacy.
Yeah, it's like, come on. And it sucks, though, because I need to be able to see when someone comes on the floor from down the hallway, and suddenly we've got all these, like, Berlin walls erected. And it might as well have freaking barbed wire at the top of them, like little pictures of dogs and stuff tacked on them. It's like, I can't see!
With some guard towers and some spotlights.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, dude, take that crap down. Take down this wall.
You need a Lex Luthor helicopter to come rescue you.
Or at least make Mexico pay for them.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
I love Mexico, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm rooting for them in the World Cup, man. That's my team.
I don't root for them because I know they're probably going to win anyway.
I don't know.
Mexico, Brazil, come on. They're like the gods of soccer.
Are you saying that with some confidence?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
You follow soccer?
No, but I feel like betting on Portugal or Brazil in the World Cup is like betting on Ryu in a Street Fighter competition. They've got the upper hand.
Who's Ryu? Is that one of the
Shoryuken Hadouken?
Oh, the main guy. All right, sure. Yeah, he's the he's the Sandra Bullock of Mortal Kombat.
Well, no, Sandra Bullock is a monster.
I know, I'm fucking with you. All right, yes. Well, sorry that your work is it sounds like it's some growing or some moving pains.
No, it's good though because
but overall it's a great thing.
When I worked in Beverly Hills, it took me like my best day ever.
All right.
I would get home in like 35 minutes. That's if I hit every perfect light coming out of here.
Yeah.
Coming from this place, I hit every single red light. I took a wrong turn. I had to backtrack. I got lost.
You ran over...
Yes, I ran over many pedestrians.
Yeah, there you go.
And I still got home in 22 minutes.
That's nice. Yeah, it's only going to get better from there, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm happy.
You drive by some nice palm trees, maybe a Panera Bread or something like that. It's a good drive.
Yeah.
Well, good. And you're also surrounded by glass walls, so Dr. Ford can visit you and give you
commands. You're freaking right. It's like I work at Delos.
Are there naked people sitting in chairs just being told what to do?
Ooh.
Raise your right arm. Raise your left arm.
That would be rich.
Do the Macarena.
We're not supposed to take pictures in the workplace, but I'm freaking taking a picture.
Nah, don't do that.
I want to. No, before anyone else is in.
Well, okay, yeah, but
show you the weirdness.
Oh, for me, yeah, that's fine. I mean, not for the channel.
Oh, I gotta do that. Okay, can't do that.
Okay, yeah, no, I get it. All right. Plus, I've seen glass before.
You haven't seen glass like this glass.
I've been in the Philips.
It's the best glass. No one has better glass than this. It's the finest glass.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, anyway, I think that's all we got for this. I'm sure there's a lot more insight. There's probably some major
we nailed it.
Things that people
we got everything 100%
figured out.
Platinum trophy.
So there's our take on it. Add that to the previous long video we did talking about it. And all right. Well, season 3 will have some Ed Harris in it and Emily, which I kind of hoped for. That was one thing that I was sort of disappointed that they sort of were, taking Emily out of the picture, so she seemed like she was more of a prominent character. But maybe I was right about that one, just by random luck, not because I had any insights. Okay, all right. Well, end of season 3, we'll find out it's a whole different layer of reality, and we'll just have to readapt to it ourselves. Because now I'm starting to question my own.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all totally wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So let us know how wrong we are, everybody, in the comments or on Twitter at VideoJamesSP, at Suckprofessor, and the other shit. You can click on it. You can do all this stuff, and we'll continue the conversation in the comments. Now we got you got a photo there.
Well, I'll show you after.
Oh, okay, all right. Not a good YouTube video where two guys are looking at a cell
Oh,
phone.
look at that! Can you zoom in a little bit? Oh, interesting, fascinating.
Well, okay, all right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you soon, and more Westworld stuff on the way. And thanks for subscribing and all the other shit. All right.